rocky ground are the ones who receive the word with joy, and they hear it and they get excited, but they have no root. They believe for a while, but in the time of testing, they fall away. And we all have time of testing. It's part of life. And the seed that fell among thorns stands for those who hear, but as they go on their way, they are choked by life's worries, riches, pleasures, and they do not mature. Folks, we can identify with that because there's just a lot of temptations, and we have been blessed many, many times over. Worries, riches, pleasures that competes with our ability to work out our salvation. But the seed on good soil stands for those with a noble and good heart who hear the word, retain it, and by persevering produce a crop. Persevering. Having patience and self-control that we might bear fruit wherever the Lord has placed us. I know I'm close. Maybe I'm over. But I want to share, I'm going to conclude. You know, I'm concluding. I'm testing your patience. I want to share a story that was written in one of Chuck Swindoll's books, Come Before Winter. And there was the story goes like this. It's a father and son who had a little farm, and they farmed this piece of land. They did produce, vegetables, and several times a year they had a little oxen cart, and they would load up their produce with vegetables and go into the nearest city to sell their product. Now, except for the family connection, the father and son was totally different. We can understand that sometimes in our family situations. Dad believed in taking life easy and enjoying every day of life. And the son, on the other hand, was a go-getter kind of guy, and he was always in a hurry. And he focused on how they could get more money through their farming practices and their buying and selling their product. So one early morning, they hitched up the ox to go to the city, and had it all loaded, and they were starting on the journey, and they would take turns. The father would be on the cart, and then the son would lead the cart. And it's when they started, the son actually volunteered. He said, I want to lead the cart, Dad. You get on the cart and ride. He did that because he knew that Dad would just have a little snooze on the way, and that would give the son an opportunity to just take the stick and get that ox, keep going faster and faster. He wanted to get to the city first to get the best prices for their produce. And every now and then Dad would say, son, take it easy. You're going to last longer if you do. And the son would say, look, if we get there first, we're going to get the best place in the market square and the best prices. So, as he's gone for a couple of hours, finally, Dad was awake again, and he said, "Son, stop. This is your uncle's house. We don't see him. Just a couple of times a year, we're going to stop and visit." Well, the son had a fit. But Dad said, "You stop." And they had a wonderful time. The two brothers. The nephew wasn't a happy camper. But finally, they went on their way. And it was time for the father to lead the cart, the ox. A couple of miles, and there's a fork in the road. And the father takes the right fork. And the son ran away and said, "Well, Dad, it's shorter if you go to the left." Dad said, "I know that. But I know that this way on the right is much prettier. The scenery is wonderful." Son said, "Dad, you can't make money looking at pretty scenery. You know?" Dad said, "Enjoy the day. Take it all in." And as they're going towards the end of the day, it was a gorgeous sunset, and they came to a babbling brook, and they were going to camp. They camped. Well, at that particular time, the son said, "Look, Dad, why don't you sleep on the cart, and we'll keep going." Dad said, "No, we are going to rest." Dad snored all night, and the son was still seething about not being able to keep going, and he didn't get any sleep at all. So it was the son's turn in the next morning, and they started early to lead the cart, and just an hour or less as they were going towards the city, there was a poor fellow whose oxen and cart was in a ditch. And he had nobody to help him. So the father said, "Whoa, we're going to help this poor fellow." And the son said, "Well, we don't even know him. I mean, he's a stranger." He said, "Well, that's more reason to help." And he said, "Son, someday you're going to be needing help, and you would appreciate someone like us to be able to help them." Well, that didn't make the son happy again. So we're at mid-morning, and just as we were leaving, they helped this other fellow get his cart going. There was a loud clash, and there was a brightness in the sky, and there became towards the city a darkness. And the father said to the son, "Oh my, there must be a terrible storm in the city." And the son said, "Well, I told you we could be almost sold out by now and thinking about getting ready to go home." Well, they kept on. And they got to the hill as they were ready to descend into the city. And both father and son stopped and looked over what used to be the city of Hiroshima. 1945, when the first atomic bomb was dropped on Hiroshima, Japan. They stared for a long time, and then they turned back towards home. But the son took his hand and put it on his father's shoulder. And he said this, "You know what you need, Dad. I see what you need. I share that in that there are times that we need to have patience and self-control, and sometimes it's giving up some things that we really want to do, but the blessing in helping others and enjoying each and every day should trump all others. Be patient, exercise self-control, and be filled with the Spirit. And we will bear fruit. Let me pray. Father God, and this will be quick, because we must allow you to fill us, and that we would share the fruit that you give us with others. It's not easy. Matter of fact, it's very hard. As individuals and as our church here, right here at State Line, we must stay in your Spirit. And we will be blessed in the name of Jesus.